As always at Setsi, we begin all things by giving thanks to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So we're going to begin with some basic I am statements as folks join, but we're not going to do too many. So we'll start with our brilliant colleague Thomas, my brother. How are you? How's Godspeed?
My name is Thomas Anthony Cumberbatch. I'm born to Winston and Keturah Cumberbatch, two Caribbean immigrants to Canada who have raised an amazing family and worked hard for my brother, my sister, and myself to become who we are today. I'm the founder and lead servant at Godspeed. Godspeed is a growth strategy, creative and branding firm that partners closely with purpose-driven, visionary leaders to build brands and businesses with soul.
We're going to hand it off to our good colleague Chantel. How are you feeling,
Thank
Chantel?
you.
I'm feeling fabulous. I hope everyone is as well. Thank you, everyone. This is my first time joining, so I'm very excited to be here and I have the pleasure of working with Victor on so many exciting projects. So I'm really grateful for you, Victor, and all of you here today. I'm Chantel. I am from a small town of 400 and learned the importance of place-based connection and neighborly love. And so I share that space with you today as the manager of social impact for Gore Mutual Insurance.
Thank you so much, Chantal. It's a pleasure working with you and your team. Trust me, we really appreciate all that you do. Jeff, how are you feeling? We'll do two more people before we dive in.
Hey, thanks, Victor. Jeff Klein. I do work in the economic development space. I'm glad to see you all, glad to be here. And I am thinking a lot about Jamaica and Cuba right now. So that's kind of distracting me from getting work done, just kind of checking up on people who I know have people there. But
I feel you completely. That was my call with my beloved elder Lisa Arneson last night at almost 2 a.m. my time was all about all the parishes in Jamaica. So once again, our thoughts and prayers go out to folks in Jamaica, in Cuba, around the world, in so many different regions that are navigating atrocities. So we give thanks, Jeff, for your leadership. And last but not least, our beloved, actually, we'll go to Kate Gatto and then our beloved brother, Mike Toy. How are you, Kate?
Thanks so much, Victor. I'm well. I hope you're well too and your family. Really nice to see everyone here. I'm Kate. I'm the manager of impact management at Rally Assets, supporting the social finance fund through Realize Capital Partners. So I build market building, programming, and IMM with a suite of partners like Common Approach, Impact Frontiers, Lyft, and Core Global. This is my second or third opportunity to connect with this group. There's so much power in this community, so I'm really grateful to be here. So thanks, Victor.
Grateful for you as well and your entire team, Kate. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we'll go to Mike before we jump in. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Brother Victor. Mike Toy, Executive Director of Cooperatives and Mutuals Canada. So nice to Gore Mutual, way to go, Co-op Mutual represent. And I'm in Victoriaville, Quebec. I'm just feeling, as we got started, Victor, and you did your routine, I was feeling just really affirmed by this space, right? It's such a good place to come back to. I was thinking I should do this more often, but thank you for hosting us once again.
No, thank you for all your hard work. If it wasn't for you and Peter Frampton early days, SWG would not be here. So once again, thank you, Mike, for being one of the first believers in building out a community of practice coast to coast to coast. We so appreciate all that you do. So without further ado, we're going to dive into our first remarkable thought leader and practitioner in the ecosystem. We're going to hand it off to our beloved and brilliant colleague, Danya. Go ahead, Danya.
Oh, thanks, Victor, so much. I gotta say, I'm a bit nervous. I don't know all of you, but I hold this community in such high regard and have learned so much from so many of you here. So thank you for giving me this space today. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm an American first and more recently a Canadian citizen. And I have the great honor these days of being the steward at Tamarack Institute for Community Engagement. So those of you who know Tamarack know that every day we get to work with communities from coast to coast to coast who come together to share what's working, to share how it's working on a variety of topics that matter to communities. Some of the communities that we partner with are building housing, some are growing food, some are creating jobs, some are working on making sure that people feel connected to each other and don't feel lonely. But all of them are working to showcase the essential role of local communities in every kind of social change, as we all experience and witness systems that are outdated and combusting and failing. I want to talk about Tamarack's role as a field catalyst, and I'm going to share a little slide in a minute. But we are a field catalyst, and the fields that we catalyze are diverse. We work in a lot of different areas, but they're always centered around the power of local collaboration, courage, and care. I have really struggled with the term field catalyst. There have been times where it's felt really academic to me, and the words have felt really ethereal. So I'm going to try a metaphor today that I've never tried before, and would love feedback on how it works, how it lands, and how you try to explain this role, because I know that a lot of us in the room play it. So I think that field catalyzing actually is explained well by a big community garden. And I was in one in the UK a couple of months ago, and this is where it really clicked for me. So in a big community garden, different people are growing different things. Up here where I live on unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe land, we've got tomatoes, sunflowers, cucumbers, tobacco, sage, squash, green beans. So in a community garden, each gardener has their own plot, their own preferences, but some things are shared: the soil, the water, the sunlight. So a field catalyst is kind of like the community garden coordinator. They see the shared resources and they encourage equitable use of that. They instigate things that ease each individual gardener's work, like planting pollinator-friendly flowers so that the pollinators will come and support all of what's growing. They surface the patterns and they amplify the knowledge, and they make sure the garden is open and welcoming to new gardeners, and that the hours are accessible to people who are curious about what's going on and want to come in and learn and see what they could contribute. So like the garden coordinator, the field catalyst doesn't grow everything themselves, and they don't do the same thing all the time. They notice what the whole ecosystem needs, and they either provide that nurture themselves, or because they know who else is trying to play these field catalyzing roles, they reach out to and get curious with and see if someone else could play those roles. They're really about the whole of the ecosystem, not about just the health of the organization or the association or the community that they mostly associate with. So this is Tamarack. Over the years, we've catalyzed fields around poverty reduction, youth-led change, climate equity, collaborative governance, living wages, universal basic income. We've done that work with a lot of you and are very grateful. And here's where I'll show my little slide here. We do that there's sort of 4 different stages that we do that work in. So there's an exploration stage. There's a stage at which we're organizing new resources that are needed to create and to make sustainable a new field. There's a stage where we're kind of sense making and codifying what's occurring as that field is being differently resourced. And then there's a stage where we take what's being codified and try to move that into policy and systems change. So one place where we're leaning into right now is around money. We are noticing more and more that local communities have amazing ideas, but there are so many restrictions to moving forward with those ideas when we don't have the resources to resource ourselves and to resource the kinds of coalition building that we need to do. As we've been looking into this question around money, we've been noticing 3 things. Communities are sometimes lacking ways to understand how financial capital is flowing and how they can access it. Often leaders are working to improve access, but they're working in silos and they're incredibly under-resourced in that work. And often they're super afraid to say anything because they are still dependent on people who have capital and worried about being labeled problematic or something else if they sort of label the challenges. So in response, we are now moving away from kind of exploring what the challenge is and what some of the things are that could happen, and moving into organizing some new work. So moving forward, you're going to see Tamarack stepping a bit more into creating spaces for communities that we work with and others that are interested that look like ways to learn about different types of capital, the forms and functions of capital. It's going to look like trying to connect more communities that we're in relationship with to many of you who are providing particular coaching and resourcing around how to generate and invest in pool assets. And it's going to look like ecosystem building, really trying to understand who else is as obsessed right now with this work around how to bring more community voice into these conversations around capital and how to then test what we're learning could be possible with people on the supply side of capital who are essential partners and who so want to change how things are flowing and functioning right now. We'd always planned to begin this work early in 2026. And one additional thing happened sort of over the spring and the summer that has accelerated it a little bit. We've been hearing more and more from communities that in addition to being curious about kind of non-repayable capital and ownership, there's a lot of interest in changing some of the dynamics around granting right now. So you may have seen, and many of you are really critically involved in an open letter that we have out right now, really looking to the funder community for the next level of partnership around how we create the communication and the relationship to be able to solve some of these big community problems together. So I'll drop a link in the chat on that. If we haven't already talked about it and you'd like to, if you haven't signed it and you'd like to, we'd love that. And we're in ongoing conversations with many of the signatories and many funders behind the scenes on how it could continue to try to contribute to many, many years of work that many of you have been real leaders in around how to build these systems of connection. I'll stop there. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much for your consistent leadership and all the work that you do on behalf of so many. It's such important work, Danya. So once again, I really appreciate you, all the actionable insights. And Setsi's been partnering with Tamarack for 3-4 years. And it's always incredible to just see the new innovation and the field catalyst work that is truly invisible when I think about field catalyst work. So once again, I appreciate all that you do for so many. We're going to hand it off to our brilliant colleague, Michael. This is Michael's first time at the SWG Solidarity Working Group. Michael, are you here from Manitoba Possible?
I am here.
It's good to see you, my friend. How's your family doing?
Everyone's well. Thanks, Victor.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to give you a few minutes to share about your remarkable work. And once again, we appreciate your solidarity and your leadership. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I appreciate the invite. I'm grateful to be invited to tell the story. I'm always happy when people want to hear it because and I do think it's a good one, so I'm always proud to tell it. About a year ago, a little more than a year ago, I was recruited into Manitoba Possible to serve as the first ever director of social enterprise. Manitoba Possible is a 75-year-old not-for-profit. We were formerly known as the Society for Manitobans with Disabilities, and many Manitobans still know us as SMD. Manitoba Possible delivers over 15 different programs through 3 Winnipeg-based offices and 6 rural locations. We have about 200 employees across Manitoba. So very well established, not-for-profit. And about 5 years ago, the board of directors had set a strategic direction that innovation was going to be part of our mission, vision, and values, or they codified it, I guess, because it always had really been part of the culture at this organization. And that led into the idea of embracing social enterprise as well. So typical not-for-profits, many of us will be familiar with the way that most of those programs are typically delivered through either grant or operational grant funding, non-repayable, what have you. And those types of funds are becoming harder to come by, harder to access, and harder to deliver all of the impact that you want to within those types of funding programs. So really looking at social enterprise and adopting thoughtfully business principles and business funding metrics or methods to try to deliver impact in our community. Our lead social enterprise is a program called Care Possible. This was founded to solve a problem that the organization had seen probably for its entire 75 years in existence, which is specifically if you are a parent of a child with a disability, somebody with a disability who's looking to arrange care, or now as we more broadly expand that, an older person who's looking to age in place. where do you find a good worker? Someone who's safe and reliable. And oftentimes, even if you have funded programs, of which in our province we have different programs where people can receive funding for care, you're still at a significant face a number of barriers to actually getting that care. And the biggest barrier is figuring out how to find a good person. After that, these self and family managers face the barriers of trying to understand whether they're now an employer of this person. Do they need to collect CPP and EI? How do they manage all the paperwork that comes with the different funding that they may have access to deliver care? So there's just a number of challenges that stand in the way of people in terms of trying to access care in their home. And we know that people who are self and family managers typically will report a higher level of satisfaction with the type of care they're receiving, but they'll often report that they've traded one frustration for another, and that new frustration is the paperwork and administrative pieces. So, Care Possible was founded to solve that problem. Our mission is to make sure that everyone who needs to access care or is accessing care has an excellent experience with that care. We have a technology platform that we've licensed from New Zealand that allows us to deliver at scale and with reduced overhead these connections and matches between people who are looking for care in the community and independent care providers who are delivering care as a self-employed individual. And I'm not sure, Victor, if you wind me up, I could probably talk for 25 minutes, so I don't want to monopolize the whole conversation. But we do exist on a sustainability model. So over 85% of the fees on the platform go directly to the worker. Our sustainability model is based on the percentage of transactions through the platform that we retain in order to deliver the service. That sustainability model has also allowed us to access some novel capital, at least for a not-for-profit, in that we've accessed repayable loan funding from Bowen Social Impact and Victoria Hospital Foundation here in Manitoba. And we chose to go this funding route because we wanted to make sure that we were able to deliver this type of program through a not-for-profit. And obviously, as a not-for-profit, we don't have equity shares to sell. So that loan has allowed us to make sure that Care Possible has a sustainability model, that we have the funding to do work, and that we are able to do that within a not-for-profit structure.
Absolutely incredible. The very first time I interviewed you, I was impressed, and I'm always impressed by your candor, your leadership, and as well your commitment to community economic development. So once again, Michael, thank you for your time, for your leadership, your brilliance, and all the hard work of you and your team. Really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. So we're going to
Thank
move
you,
on
Victor.
to our brilliant and beloved colleague, Alfred Bergeson, the CEO of Tribe Network. Alfred, are you here, my friend?
Yes, I am, Victor. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Victor, thank you for inviting me back to share more about Tribe. For those who haven't met yet, hi, my name is Alfred, based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Mi'kma'ki, out on the East Coast. I'm the founder and CEO at Tribe Network, and we are an entrepreneurship organization serving Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We have a not-for-profit that's been doing this work since 2020. Before launching Tribe, I, as an entrepreneur myself, was navigating the innovation ecosystem out here and realized that I didn't see myself in a lot of the spaces. Whether you walk into publicly funded innovation hubs and their teams are not diverse, their boards are not diverse, their mentors and coaches are not diverse, they don't understand my lived experience. And ultimately, I felt like I did not belong in that space. In 2020, I worked with Senator Colin Deacon on a research study with the Senate of Canada, and that essentially outlined that 80% of Black people would have a hard time identifying $10,000, whether as a loan, as a grant, as an investment for their business, that they didn't know where to go to access $10,000. So that brings into question a lot of issues around generational wealth, around access to capital, access to networks, trust in institutions. And for me, that was kind of the final straw of, okay, I wanna be a part of the solution. I've experienced it myself. I've studied it through data and engaging other ecosystems across the country. And to me, that was the moment when I said, okay, I'm not alone. There are other people who have similar experiences. And so I decided to launch Tribe Network with the help of some partners. We've been operating for about 5 years now, and we tend to focus on supporting mostly innovation-driven tech, high-growth businesses led by racialized founders. Um, our network, however, is not just founders. We also work with students, professionals, and investors. And we call it the three C's. We provide community, we provide coaching, and capital. And so we've been doing this for about 5 years now. We're actually going live today with our impact report. Any minute now, it will be going live, and I may share my screen and show a little bit of the impact we've had because it has been an incredible 5 years that we've had. Um, a couple of years ago, we decided to launch a venture fund to invest dollars into entrepreneurs and the high potential entrepreneurs. We've seen entrepreneurs in our network go on to raise capital, and we've also seen them struggle in the capital raising environment. And so we're raising a $30 million fund to complement our existing programming. And this will allow us to invest in kind of the founders that may already be in our ecosystem or founders who may not be in our ecosystem, but we feel like we have a unique advantage because of the programming we run. We have data on entrepreneurs from coast to coast, and we're able to gather kind of reference those insights to know who is investable, how are they showing up when we set them up with a mentor or coach? Are they utilizing the non-dilutive funding we provide them efficiently? And are they, tracking their metrics in terms of jobs created, revenue generated? We use those metrics that we have access to inform some of the decisions around investing on the venture arm. And so we feel like we have a pretty unique model currently, and I think trying to innovate, trying to create something that is actually helpful and useful for our members, and at the same time building a sustainable model for our organization. And so this is where having the not-for-profit and having the venture fund comes into play, because ultimately, if we help our entrepreneurs succeed, and if we're invested in them, that some of that return will come back to making our ecosystem more sustainable and kind of driving that long-term sustainability. Victor is a good friend and someone who's had a chance to be on the board since our inception, and so has been a great mentor and friend to me. And so, Victor, I want to thank you for your 5 years of service around the tribe table. You're currently our board chair and have done a phenomenal job mentoring, advising me, and also the team more generally. Um, Before I close, I will share my screen, and I want to share pieces of our impact report. Like I mentioned, this is coming out today, and so the board has seen it, our team has seen it, and you will all be the first to see it publicly before it goes live later today. So this is our cover page. It includes various members of our network. It's all about the people, and so we're really trying to center the people we serve as part of the report. Obviously, providing a land acknowledgement. We are Nova Scotia. We're based in Halifax, and there's a unique recognition statement in here as well to honor the African Nova Scotian legacy that's here. A lot of people don't know this, but I mean, African Nova Scotians have been in Halifax and across the province for over 400 years, which I think may come as a surprise to some, but it's an important part of the legacy here. And so we always try to ensure we have those folks in mind as well. Right off the bat, we go over our community impact. We have over 2,000 members now in our network. Since 2020, we've supported over 1,300 racialized entrepreneurs through workshops, mentorship, and programming. On our economic impact, we've made investments into programming of almost $1 million and have issued almost $500,000 to racialized entrepreneurs to support their business development. And that's created over 400 jobs. as well. And so our total economic impact to date is 25 million. That's, considering over the past 5 years, we've cumulatively probably had about 4 million total in operating. That's almost a 5-6x kind of return on investment. And so very proud of the work that our young team has been able to achieve so far, and we know that we're just getting started. This is me and some remarks, and then we have our incredible co-chairs, Victor and Mel, who keep my feet to the fire and make sure I keep pushing. And they also, clear space when it needs to be cleared so that our team can do the important work that we do. This is the ecosystem that we have. So as I mentioned, students, organizations, professionals, entrepreneurs, government, corporate, investors, and academic institutions. A little bit about kind of our vision. We provide laptops to students for free. And so we've distributed over 100 laptops and technology to students. We've already raised $2 million for Tribe Ventures on our way to 30 million. And we are actively fundraising as well in this moment. This is some more stats on our impact, our founders' impact in terms of the VC funding they've secured, the grant funding and loans as well. And in our network, we have some photos here, some more impact numbers for Atlantic Canada programming. We also provide cash grants directly to entrepreneurs. Been doing a lot of youth engagement over the past year. We partnered with the St. Mary's University to award $120,000 in scholarships for computer science. And then we've also partnered with HCI3 to host a youth climate pitch competition. So getting young people engaged in the kind of clean energy, clean technology space and having them bring forward some innovative ideas there as well. Last year, we hosted our first Leader Summit in Halifax and brought together over 500 folks from across the country to Halifax and celebrated our impact with them as well. We have a space in downtown Halifax that brings together community members. We provide this space at a lot of times in kind to community groups who can't afford space, either to work from it day to day or to host events in our space. And so it's become a bit of a central hub in downtown Halifax for our members. And then got to pay homage to the entire team. Like I mentioned, we have a very young team that are doing this work. A lot of us have experience running our own businesses, whether in the tech space or retail. We've got an incredible team of folks that are part of this journey. And again, here are incredible board members as well. So many partners make what we do possible, and so we have to give them their flowers as well. Across the country and even globally, we've worked with University of Ghana, the African Union, and so we're looking to build Tribe in Canada, but to certainly connect it to different parts of the world. Looking ahead, our main 4 priorities are around access to capital. So increasing the capital pool available for our founders, introducing AI literacy. Just this past year, we actually executed a program, and we're also about to do a phase 2 of it called the AI Youth Fellowship, where we're providing AI education to youth across the country. This summer, we did a university cohort, and early next year, we'll be doing a high school cohort. And AI literacy means providing training around security, around privacy, and also the exciting tools that are available for folks to build with. This program included a hackathon, so the young folks had about 8 weeks of training and then 2 weeks of actually building something and presenting it. And so over the weekend, we just hosted a hackathon and awarded a few prizes to some of the top ideas, which was pretty cool to see. National expansion, as I mentioned, we're based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but our network is over 2,000 people, and we have folks in Ontario, in Quebec, in Alberta. And so this next year, we're going to be having a very concerted effort to build a presence in some other provinces across the country so that we can, have a presence there and host events, workshops, and support our members in those spaces. And then the fourth one that's been coming up a lot is a lot of organizations have been coming to us for our talent. We have an incredible team and network, and folks want to tap into that network for services that they need. And so we're going to be building out a marketplace to promote the skill sets of our team and our members, so that folks who want to hire or have specific talent that they're looking to hire can tap into our network in a more meaningful way. So that is our impact report. Again, a little sneak peek for you all here before it goes public, and just want to give a huge thank you to Victor and the board, our team, all of our partners from coast to coast that have made this work possible. And I'm so happy to be able to share some of it with you here today. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Alfred, for your remarkable leadership and all that you do. And you cheated when you got me on your board. You played basketball with my sons for 2 hours, impressed my wife, and I wasn't allowed. Remember, I'm the only 42-year-old with an allowance and a curfew, and I wasn't allowed to join another board. And you and your girlfriend talked to my wife, and my wife said, "You have to sit on this young man's board." So you cheated. But it's been 5 years of blessings and learning from you as well, my friend. So once again, I appreciate all the flowers that you gave and all the work that you're doing on behalf of so many. Thank you, my brother. So we're going to move on to our brilliant and beloved colleague, Vanessa. Vanessa, are you here, my friend?
Awesome. Well, nice to see everyone. This is my first meeting as well. Thanks to Victor for the invitation. Yeah, and thanks for the presentations. I know two of the people that presented, and I reached out to Michael to connect because we're doing some social enterprise work in New Brunswick. So I'm the executive director of the Pondish Bonde Center, which is at the University of New Brunswick. We started 13 years ago with the goal of helping really the community sector have the operational excellence of the private sector, and the private sector have the heart of the nonprofit sector. And over that time, we've done a lot of different types of things. And what we're focused on right now is supporting social enterprise in New Brunswick. So we're doing that in a couple of ways. New Brunswick doesn't have a nonprofit association or community sector council, so we're working with the Crown Corporation here to really get that off the ground and have social economy be part of that. So we've been working primarily in capacity building and running social economy convenings. In terms of social finance, and I appreciate the theme of that. I chatted with our general counsel recently about what's possible for us to do, because we of course fall under the charitable objects of the university. So we can't do a fund unless it's student directed, which is good to understand that I guess constraint. And so I've been in chat with some folks who've supported other universities in doing student directed impact investing and things like that. So we'd be at the very early stages of thinking through that. So if anyone has any expertise in that and different connections, I'd love to chat about that. We're really thinking through right now, if we were to rebrand as the Pondish Bonde Center for something like inclusive prosperity, what would that mean? How do we support students at our university to think through that? How do we really coalesce and convene some research at the university, because people are already working on that in different domains? And then how do we support and convene community work? So I don't know if anyone else here is also working at a university or with a university. I am making some different connections with universities across the country, but I would love to chat and connect and learn more. And yeah, just trying to propel Yes, thank you. Yeah, I connected with and his name is escaping me right now, but
Tristan and
a few
Keshiv.
people there. Pardon
Tristan,
me?
Tristan, Keshiv, and Sherilyn
Yes,
from Hotel
Tristan,
Impact.
and we have someone from there speaking at our GovMaker conference, and her name is escaping me too. But yeah, and the Center for Community Prosperity, thank you for that. I actually talked to James Stotch for 2 hours yesterday, who was the founding executive director, who gave me lots of great insights on how to do this effectively within the university environment. And I don't know, Kashiv, but I will reach out. Thanks for that. So yeah, I appreciate all of these thoughts. I'm going to look through that because I'm not super great at multitasking, but I will put my email in the chat and I'd love to learn more. And Alfred, congrats on the report. It looks super great. And I know I saw Alfred, I think it was last week, and I have some things I want to chat to you about, so I will reach out. But yeah, thanks so much, and looking forward to connecting with folks. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. And just to be clear, Lynn Ferguson's on this call, incredible consultant, ally leader. Peter Frampton from the Lord and Richard Foundation has been doing this work for, I'm not going to date Peter, but for a while now. We have Carlisle. There's a lot of folks here. Andrew Greer, who's up next, Adam Purple. So there's a lot of folks here as well.
Oh,
So
yes, I've
if you put your
connected with
link, if you put your email in
someone
the
at
chat, that'll be great.
Yes, I will.
It's
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Next, we'll have Andrew, my friend. You got 3 to 4 minutes to share the remarkable work that you're doing at Purple, and just so inspired by your work and so happy you're able to attend today, my friend. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks, Victor. I feel a little fish out of water, taking some time at a first gathering like this that I've been to. I'm joining from the Okanagan Territory in Kelowna, BC. And I've been working on Purple for about 10 years. Purple stands for Purposeful People. And we do social enterprise development. And that can mean a lot of different things to different folks and different organizations. But what it usually means is helping build revenues and sustainability for social enterprise, social purpose organizations. And that's been our focus for about a decade now. Some of the places where we're seeing some interesting sort of like threads to speak to the capital that Alfred was sharing about. Several years ago, we launched a fund called Thrive. I launched a small fund at the same time as Thrive Impact Fund, which is owned by Scale Collaborative and Purple, based out of Victoria. And we ended up merging funds about a year into both of us starting funds. So now we co-own Thrive Impact Fund. And it's about a $10 million small impact fund, had like focused on investing in British Columbia. It is it's a debt fund, not an equity fund. And we're seeing some really interesting things, learning quite a bit through our work on that fund. So I think some of the pieces that keep coming up are that equity isn't the right capital for a lot of the social economy, because a lot of it is nonprofit and there's few organizations that have a vehicle that can actually accept equity. So debt has been nice. We do term debt, which is a typical loan. We do bridge loans, which is a really unfortunate necessity in the sector, where an organization will get a big project with the government and you have to do all the work and then get paid. And so unfortunately, there's a need for bridge often in the social economy, which is just like short-term capital to bridge you to when you actually get paid by government or funder or that sort of thing. We've also done revenue-based financing, which is very unique. Very, very few funds are doing revenue-based financing. And it acts as a loan, but instead of as a fixed payment, it actually floats with your revenue. So if you have a seasonal organization, your payments are lower when your revenue is lower and higher when your revenue is higher. So there's some really interesting sort of bits in the structure of Thrive that if for anyone is considering starting a fund, we could probably talk ad nauseum about fund structure and fund design. We're actually helping a few other funds think through their structure. But I'll share one of the interesting pieces in the fund design, if you're in there, is our funds come in as a preferred share. And that means an investor is buying a portion of the company, buying a share. But one of our share classes is a gift. And so, yes, they're buying shares, but they're actually getting no capital back. And that's been really helpful for us to lower the overall cost of capital for the fund. So, we raise close to 10 million, and this Class A share is a gift, and Class B is a 0% return, and Class C is 3% return. So we're seeing institutional investors actually come to the table being really interested in high impact fund and a predictable return fund, which is quite different than how an equity fund has a return profile. They don't really know when they're going to get a return on their investment, whereas a debt fund is a predictable, steady return. And those first two classes of shares at a gift or 0%, it's been really, really interesting from a cost of capital perspective and a commitment and sort of solidarity perspective, saying like, look, we can't just accept capital at market rate. Market rate expectations, well, in some cases that's okay in the impact economy. In other cases, that's like fundamentally broken expectation. And we have to challenge investors. And we've actually had to say no to some and say, we'd love to invest, but it needs to be, market rate. And say, well, sorry. So we haven't had, the institutional investors are coming to the table with capital to support this sort of thing. We believe it can scale up, and we're happy to share structure that I think can really help support other funds who are in fund design mode or next fund design mode, to bring in capital that actually supports the economy, that's like patient, values aligned, and actually there to support even just the simple incorporation structures that are most common in this sector. Like, sadly, many of the impact funds that have grown up are equity, and that supports a for-profit impact venture, but it really leaves out the nonprofit economy. So that's one of the things we've been working on, and happy to share more if anyone wants to go deep on the nerdiness of fund design and fund economics and that sort of thing. We're first-time fund managers. I don't really know anything about capital, but I'm learning through a fire hose.
Listen, we've met way too many times for you to say that you don't know anything about capital, Andrew. I think you're brilliant, and you got a heart from Peter Frampton, and that's hard. So once again, I appreciate your leadership, Andrew, as always. Thank you, my friend. Please put your link in the chat. I put the link for Thrive Impact in the chat. We're going to move on to our beloved colleague, Adebola. Adebola, if we can all try and take about 3 minutes each, that'd be great. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate all those actual insights. Go ahead, Adebola.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Adebola Adefiori. I am the founder and executive director at the Afro Women and Youth Foundation. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I started the Afro Women and Youth Foundation 6 years ago in Toronto because my daughter experienced the racism in the school system. We were newcomers to Canada, and she went to school, and the girls in class said she couldn't play with them because she's a Black girl. And she would always stay by herself at recess or go to the JKSK classroom to help out because she was being bullied in class. And I spoke to the teacher. They didn't do anything about it. My husband and I continue to support her to learn self-advocacy skills and leadership skills. And she started using those strategies and things began to change. So after a while, when she got to grade 5, she won the award for the most confident child in class. And I thought that was amazing. I thought I could do more in my community. And I started speaking to Black immigrant parents and families about their experiences as newcomers and speaking to their children too. And I got to know that there's a lot going on in the school system and also in the community. So that was how I started having offering workshops, free workshops at Coast Immigrant Services Shelter in Toronto in 2019, and eventually registered the Afro Women and Youth Foundation as a nonprofit. So it's been 6 years of doing the work. We are a registered charity. We started in Toronto. We did some work in Newmarket, but now we're in Sudbury. And in Sudbury, where we've been working for the last 3 years, the work has grown. We now have a community center, Afro Women and Youth Foundation Community Center, and from there we run programming for Black newcomer women. We have Women's Wellness and Vocational Circle, which is an empowerment program that helps newcomer women develop skills. We also support them with a resume kind of to just help them to get jobs and be able to move forward in terms of economic empowerment in Canada. We also run the clothing bank, which is free and open to all community members. We also run the food bank program. So we have two types of food bank. There's the regular food bank. There's also the cultural food bank. So we get African food items, and the African people in our community, African and Caribbean, can come and shop from the cultural food bank program. So I put a link to our website in the chat. There's a lot of wellness activities for children. We have sports for mental health. We have craft for mental health. We have BIPOC stories for change. On our website, there's a lot of resources and videos of our work and all of that. In the last 7 years, we've reached over 7,000 people in our communities. And in the last 1 year, we were able to reach over 2,500 service contacts. So the work is growing. And I really want to say thank you to Victor. Victor has been very supportive of the work that we're doing, has offered strategic planning training to our board and all of that. But the biggest challenge right now is that the work is growing. We're trying our best. However, we're struggling with sustainable funding. So that is a big issue. I have been a volunteer ED for the most part of the work of my 6 years, and it's a lot of work. It's not sustainable to keep getting the organization to move forward like that. Just yesterday, I got an email from my very key, strongest staff person, the program manager, to say she just got a job with another nonprofit where she doesn't have to worry about where is our next funding coming from. So I'm here today to connect with everyone. I hope you can just check out the website and the work that we're doing. There's also the 2024 highlights. That's kind of the summary of the work we did last year. We're looking for our board members who are very interested in the work that we're doing and who can provide some expertise in terms of funding and grant writing. That's the big gap that we have right now in the organization. We don't have funding right now, so we're not even sure if this amazing work that is being, celebrated by a lot of people. We've won awards and recognition and all of that. We don't know if this work will continue in January of 2026 because the funding that we have now for the space and for the staff, the only staff that's working is only until the end of this year. So I'm bringing this forward today to kind of, reach out and see if anyone will be able to provide some support, some counsel, advice, or maybe volunteer on our board to bring that expertise that is missing so that we just can continue with this work. That's what I want to share with you all today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Adebola, for your leadership. When we met 3 years ago and I did that pro bono strategic planning session for you and your team, I never would have guessed how resilient and passionate you were. And the 4 of you on your board, and I think 5 now, developed your own CRA application and got treatable status by yourself with very limited support from our team. So these are resilient, brilliant sisters. Once again, I appreciate your leadership. And FFBC is November 5th. It's around the corner. So we appreciate all that you're doing, my sister. We're going to move on to our beloved sister, Phil Sanfera. Go ahead, Phil San.
Hello, everyone, friends, colleagues, new friends. Yeah, just amazing hearing everybody talk about their work. And Victor, thank you to you and Setsi for continuing to host and create this space for all of us to connect and hear about what we're working on. So my name is Wilson Farr, working with Weave Community Capital Fund as fund manager, and happy to share a bit about Weave. So Weave is really the first of its kind in Canada. It is a fund, a diversified fund that's looking to support the community bond sector. So we know the community bond sector has just been a resilient sector where communities continue to prove really the impossible, raising funds to support so many of the initiatives in their local communities. And one of the biggest question marks has always been how can this sector scale, and what needs to be done to ensure that funding is available to our communities nationwide. So this is really the barrier and challenge that Weave is looking to address. And the way that Weave is doing this is by creating a 30 million pooled fund that supports community bond sectors, and really looking to support in different key areas: affordable housing, youth and childcare, climate action, and really anything else that comes up in the next 7 years. So it's a 7-year fund where we had a lot of great exciting momentum come from getting realized capital partners to support us and be our lead anchors. So that's just been an amazing experience for us the past few months. We are still raising capital, looking to deploy that capital by Q1 of next year. And so really, I think Weave is the result of the work of so many of you colleagues here, folks who've been looking to support the social finance sector and different ways we can do that in different communities. And what we're excited most about is investing alongside community. So this is a fund that still continues to support and encourage our community retail investors in supporting community bonds. And we're also excited that we're looking to bring on institutional investors. So the biggest challenge for a lot of institutional investors in supporting the community bond sector has been that there's a barrier and that the ticket sizes are not suitable for them. So we looks to address that and bringing together both the institutional investors and continuing to support the resilient community retail supporters. And so we're excited. This is, obviously, I think the results of so many of all the work that we've been doing. Weave has incubated a Tapestry and has really built on the work that Tapestry has been doing in the, especially with CMHC's Housing Supply Challenge. So yeah, I'll drop my my email and also our website in the chat. But yeah, definitely looking forward to being able to stay connected to all of you. And if there's anybody here who is looking to start a community bond or is already part of a community bond and looking for funding, definitely would love to be in contact and find pathways for us to stay connected and collaborate. But thank you so much, Victor. And yeah, hopefully that was a few minutes and gives time for another colleague.
Thank you so much, Philson. We're going to go to our good brother, Thomas. Go ahead, Thomas.
Hey, folks. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Thomas, founder and lead servant at Godspeed. Godspeed is a growth strategy and branding firm that really specializes in unearthing and illuminating the souls of purpose-driven people and brands. We believe that the soul is the most important aspect of any human being, any business, any organization. And we believe that when purpose-driven people are clear about their value and their purpose, that they can walk out into the market square and persuade our communities to invest in things that matter. When I hear people like Adebola speak about the amazing work that you're doing, and you say, well, we might not exist in January, to hear that breaks my heart. And I think that that's, really the foundation of our purpose at Godspeed is to work with people of purpose to make sure that when you're going out into the market square and you're sharing your value and your work and how important it is on pushing the needle on things that matter, that they can understand, that they can see the value, and that they don't only understand, but it moves them to action. And that's what we do with brands and businesses every day. We work with all kinds of businesses. We don't just work in the social purpose sector. We find change makers and people of purpose in all sectors across all industries. We've built, over 300 brands in the last 15 years. We work with organizations that are, grassroots organizations, local mom and pop businesses here in Ottawa and in other cities. And we've worked with multi-billion-dollar organizations. We just created a really interesting project with Habitat for Humanity International. We built a 3,000 square foot museum exhibit that was supposed to show once. And in Atlanta, I had Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter, Bernice King, walk through it. And next thing you know, it's on tour and it's traveling all over the US and it's going to 50 cities. I've been blessed enough to work with the most incredible people. We have a team of 12. I always tell people we punch above our weight. We work with people on building business strategy, and then we help people with the creative strategy. Practically speaking, once businesses and once people and organizations have a deep understanding of the essence of who they are, and they have the ability to put that out and to communicate that with tact, what ends up happening is that people of purpose become leaders, the leaders of our society. And that's really ultimately our big dream at Godspeed is purpose-driven people and brands leading the whole wide world. I think when that happens, then our world will change. We believe in the power of art and creativity. We believe in the power of faith and being courageous and telling your entire story with all of the vigor and passion that it requires. And ultimately speaking, I think for us, we live vicariously through the work of people who are creating change, and that's what inspires us every day at Godspeed. You can go to our website, godspeed.com, Godzz speed.com, and you can see some of the work that we've done. But I can tell you, folks, it is vitally important for people in the impact sector to see themselves as not only doing the work, but we believe that it's important for people of purpose to market and communicate the good work that you do at the same level and higher than the status quo, because the work that you're doing is the work that literally is the sustainability for our futures on this planet. And I've developed a lot of friendships with people in the social purpose, environmental purpose, and impact sector across North America and other countries and other continents. And the one thing that I can say that I see as a common thread is that we get so tied to the work we do every day that we forget that really our work needs to become a movement in order for it to be sustainable. And what we do every day at Godspeed is we help leaders to make their works a movement, and to translate all of their good into the hearts and minds of the people that matter most to them and the movements.
Thank you so much, my beloved brother, for your remarkable leadership, your tenacity, all that you do for so many. I need a huge favor from three of our colleagues today. You know who you are. Three of you have not got a chance to present today. I will put you at the top of the agenda, I promise you, for the next session. My colleague Shayna is drafting an email to all three of you right now. Once again, at Setsi, we always start on time and we always end on time. The three of you that did not get to present today, you'll be at the top of the agenda for the next SWG. I see someone in the chat telling me this should be bi-weekly and not monthly. Hopefully one day we'll get there to be bi-weekly and not monthly. But as always, we close the way we began by giving thanks to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Once again, I apologize profusely to our three colleagues that did not get to present today. I promise you, my colleague Shayna is sending you an email right now to make sure at the top of the agenda for the next session. Peace and blessings, folks. Warm regards. Bye-bye.